All right, everybody. Part 2. Now we're going to take a look at ERC-165, exactly what it is. And I think the best way is just kind of go into the contract, look at it, and kind of explain it from there. All right. So if we go over here, here's an ERC-721 contract, right? And you'll see here it imports quite a few things. ERC-165, one of them, that's what we'll be talking about. We're also going to be talking about ERC-721 metadata, right? So right here you'll see the supports interface. This comes from the ERC-165 interface. And basically what this does is it allows you to check the contract and see if it actually does implement an interface or not, right? And here you can see it's saying, okay, this does support the ERC 721 as well as the 721 metadata right here. That's what we're going to be looking at. And now you'll notice it uses this built-in function, this interface ID. Now we're going to go about how exactly do we calculate that ID today, because this does require us to enter an interface ID. So let's look at exactly how that's calculated right now. Okay, so let's go over here and take a look at right here. So here's the interface of the ERC 721 metadata contract, right? Or ERC 721 interface. Basically, in order to implement this interface properly, your contract must have name, symbol, and token URI. And of course, token URI does have one argument that it will be expecting, and that is going to be a uint256. Okay, so in order to calculate the interface ID to see, is this an ERC 721 metadata, it's going to take these and we're going to perform some operations on them, and I'm going to show you that right now. Okay, so over here, first thing first is we are going to have to go ahead and get a list. Oh gosh, you know what, before I turn this company mode off, I don't like it. We're going to create a function, we call it func6, okay? And it's going to be a list of the function signatures that we're looking for. And from that metadata, we wanted name. It's going to be just like that, okay? We're going to need symbol, just like that. And now for token URI, this one, oops, this one does get one parameter. It has one parameter, and that's going to be uint256. All we're going to do is the data type. We don't put the name or anything like that, and that's it. Okay. These are our function signatures. Each one is an individual function signature, right? So now what we're going to do is the next step is we want to go ahead and create function selectors, a list. We're going to take these signatures and create our function selectors, and then from there we can calculate our interface ID. So basically what we need to do is take each one of these and we're going to run it through a Kachuk hashing algorithm. And then in order to get the selector, we simply take the first 4 bytes that outputs, and that is going to be our selector, right? And then the next step after that will be to now we have a list of all the selectors, and we are going to perform the XOR operation on each one, and the output from that is going to be our interface ID. That simple. Okay, good. So we've got our func6, right? So the next is, let's get a little space here. Let's go ahead and get our selectors. So that's going to go ahead and take in that list of SIGs. And here, we'll just call this our selector list. And so we're going to do some list comprehension here. So Web3, so remember we got to Kachuk each one. So we're going to go ahead and say sig. We're going to need to encode that with UTF-8. Right. Encode UTF-8, and then got that. And remember, we're going to take the first 4 bytes. So we're going to go ahead and grab that, and then let's say for sig in 6. And that looks like a good line there. I should kick out that list that we want, and then we're just going to return selector list. Oops, just like that. Boom. Now, we're going to have to perform that XOR operation. We call this XORator. And this is going to go ahead and take in a list of selectors that we created in the last function. And I'm going to go ahead and just call this result. And this is where we're going to use that reduce function that we brought in earlier. This is going to be a one-off lambda, whoops, with the B, lambda, and it's just going to take in 2. And we're going to need to convert bytes here. And this is our, this caret, that's our XOR operator. It's going to be XOR for AB. In zip, X and Y. And I'm going to explain this. And we're just going to grab that from selectors. And I think we should be good there. Now, let's talk about the XOR operation just for a second here. So XOR basically is going to take, it performs a bitwise operation, and it kicks out a 1 or a 0, basically. And so let's take, so for instance, we have a byte right here, right? That contains 4, each byte, sorry, this is a nibble. A byte would be 8 bits, there's a 4 bits is going to be a nibble. Right, and it's going to take 1 and then another, right? That's what we're zipping 2 at the same time, and it's going to perform this XOR with the caret on each one. Let's just say the 2 it's going to be comparing is 0, 1, 1, 0, something like that. Okay, so basically it's going to go through each one, and it's going to take these 2 right here, and it's going to say 0, 0, compare them, and that's going to be equal to 0. Right? If you have 2 that are the same, it's going to kick out a 0. If we have 2 that are different, well, the next one, so if we go 1 and 1, that's also going to be a 0 because those are both the same. But now let's just say here we have 0 and 1. So XOR 0 and 1 together, that's going to kick out a 1. Right? And then, of course, the last one, 0, 0, is going to equal 0. Right? So it's going to be 0, 1, 0, 0. Right? It's going to be that. But that was not any valid Python or anything. I was just kind of showing you how to do XOR. Okay? So that's exactly what's happening in an XOR operation that's happening right here. Okay. So now we can just go ahead and let's define selector list. It's going to be equal to selectors, funcsigs, right there, and then our interface ID. Right, that's exactly what the final thing we're looking for. Is going to be XORator with that selector list, and then supports interface. It's going to be equal to f dot. Right. Remember, we got all those functions. Supports interface is one of them, and we're simply going to plug in that interface ID, and it should return true if it actually does. And now we're going to want it in hex format, so right there, and of course .call. Go ahead and print supports interface. And that will simply return a Boolean value. We're not going to get fancy with this print. It's going to say true or false. True is what we're looking for here, right? So let's go ahead and Python ERC-165.py Fingers crossed. True. Boom. And just to prove that, that something is actually happening, so let's go back in and to our script. And now let's change funcsig. So let's just say, okay, we made a mistake. And let's just say, I don't know, like we forgot that token interface requires this argument here. Okay, and we just thought this was, our funcsigs. Okay, go back and we run the same thing, and now it should return false, and it does. Boom. Hopefully that gives you all a good understanding. If you have any questions about this, please comment in the comments section, and I will happily reply with any answers that you have. Because I love teaching this stuff, and I love talking about it, and that is about it. I hope everyone got something out of this, and that you all have a very nice day. Goodbye.